What's going on, guys? My name is Corrupt and welcome back to Identify That Base. In this episode, we're going to be teaching you guys how to use DragBat at Town Hall 10. So if you guys do enjoy this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and also let me know in the comments below if you guys want to go ahead and see another Town Hall 10 video, maybe another Town Hall 11, or even another Town Hall 12 video. Let me know exactly which attack and what Town Hall you guys want to see next in this series. So let's go ahead and jump into the first example we have here for you guys. So we've got the first base design right here, and this base design, you're going to notice a lot of splash is surrounding the base. So the first thing that you're taking a look at, this is what I take a look at usually at Town Hall 11 for a DragBat, is you are specifically looking at where all the splash buildings are, and then you also want to identify where the air sweepers are. That is what's really important about this attack. So what you want to try and take a look at is, first of all, let's see where all of the splash buildings are, mainly the wizard towers and the multi-infernos. If we take a look at it here, you'll notice that a lot of them are on one side of the base. So they're all mainly on this side. Now, this is good to know, but also notice where the air sweepers are placed. So if I trace where these air sweepers are placed right here, one of them is going to be pushing those units from that side, while the other one is going to be pushing units back like this. So this is what's really important to identify when you guys are looking to use this attack. Notice that all of the splash is being covered by the air sweepers. So in terms of this, you want to look for the best entry point to actually use, which is actually going to be from the opposite side. The main reason is because you can get those two splash buildings, plus if your dragons decide to move in this way, you can get another two. But not only are you just using dragons and loons going in, but you're also using a Sui hero, mainly using the king and the queen. What they're going to be doing is sent in right around here in this attack, just so that then they can get the town hall. Usually you want to try and use them onto the town hall because you don't want to get a 1-star on this attack. Sometimes that will happen, so you really want to make sure that you try and find the best way to just get to the town hall, but also clear through the rest of those buildings. But once you're able to really set that funnel with, your heroes, the baby dragon, what you really want to then do is send in your Sui hero in an area where you can get some sort of value. This will really include an air defense, wizard towers. Those are huge because especially if you get wizard towers. So those are really, really huge in terms of this attack. So this is a very simple attack, and you can see that there was a ground expo mainly trying to defend the queen charge. However, in this attack, what's really important is just identifying where everything is, mainly the splash buildings. Because dragons are pretty tanky upon themselves, it's usually a good way in order to get through. So it's very, very simple to sort of identify the base and see exactly what you really want to get from the base. So in here, this is a really good thing to kind of identify is the use of the rage spell. The use of the rage spell here was specifically to get the dragons in. Now, some of the dragons did move on to the outside, and some of them did move off to the side. However, he is still getting some sort of value from that rage. The rage is trying to keep as many of those dragons up. So even if he doesn't get a lot, then that's completely fine. Now, with this attack, you can also bring a golem. Now, why would anyone want to bring a golem? The main reason is to distract one of the wizard towers. Notice that there's only one free spell being used in this attack strategy. Usually it's going to be 1 to 2, but Golem is very good because you don't get Ice Golem at Town Hall 10, which means that you would most likely be using a Golem in order to actually tank for that wizard tower. If you notice in this one that the Golem is not really tanking for it right now because the bomb tower, but once it moves out of it, it'll move into the range. Now if you notice, a bat bomb was used. Unlike the P.E.K.K.A Bobat that we had in a previous video, the bat bomb is more useful in terms of this attack, because you really want to be able to instantly get rid of a splash building such as a multi-inferno. In this case, you want to try and get as much value. You are less reliant on your bats. You really just want your bats to get some sort of value. Usually you want to try to get them to clear as much of the splash from the back end, and then other defenses such as air defenses, expos, archer towers, cannons. Just start cleaning up other defenses on the back end. Usually this is good, especially if your bats are able to clear the rest of the base, and then you have enough to tank for the rest of the splash that's there. Just remember that those bats can be targeted by the red air bombs only if those red air bombs are triggered by loons. So you got to make sure that you identify that before you guys exactly understand it, because sometimes your bats may die because a loon went way too close to them. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example for you guys. Alright, so here is the second example we have here for you guys, and again, what you're going to notice from this base is take a look at where all the wizard towers and the multi-inferno towers are. They're all in sort of a certain area. Now, the first thing that you're going to notice that's different from the other one is that the air sweepers are not pointed to one side. One air sweeper is going to be pointed this way, meaning that this area of the base is a little bit harder to hit with any air attacks, just because, especially dragons, because it's going to be pushing back your units. And then also over here. So it's really important that we kind of talk about this, because in this one, it seems very awkward now, because you want to try and put them into an area where it's like almost like a flat side, and you can actually push them into the core of the base. This is a little bit more awkward. You don't want to hit from a corner. So that's really the thing. However, this is where the heroes and just funneling will be in place. You want to, if you're going to be charging into an air sweeper, what's really important to understand is that you want to be able to actually push all your dragons in. This way, that in this case, this air sweeper right here, if you're going to be able to charge into here, you're going to have to clear this side. That's why the heroes are going to be used on that specific side to clear it. So that's really something to keep in mind. Now, not only this, if you can make at least your king and queen, or mainly if you can get your queen over there, but if you can get both, that's even better. They can actually pull in and get a wizard tower. This now allows you to get these 3 splash buildings, only leaving these 2 up. Again, notice the use of the golem, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this video. Now again, depending on what you're going to be bringing here, usually you're going to be bringing about 7, 8, 9 dragons, and then also as many loons as you can hold from the rest. And then if you decide to bring a golem, that's great, but you can also bring a lava hound. Lava hound is specifically used to tank for the loons, the stone slammer, and the dragons as they move in. I don't really have an example set here for you guys with it. However, it is still a very useful one. I have some videos in the past where I talked about that. Again, notice here that the rage spell, the value that the rage spell can get is a lot. And notice how there's now more dragons in that rage than the previous example we had. So you really want to try and really get as much of it as possible. And you just really want to make sure that you can allow the dragons to get right on up into the base and make sure. Notice how that funnel allowed a lot of those dragons to not be pushed onto the outside of the base, but stay on the inside. It's just a nuisance as they start to move in. Now, if you notice, let's take a look at where this wizard tower was placed, and notice that because the golem's hitbox is a little bit larger than a certain troop or other troops, then you're going to see that the wizard tower is going to lock on to that golem. So you got to just make sure that you take a look at the range and see how are you going to place it and where, because that is really important, because the angle that you place it, it could go into an area like, let's say, right here. It could go right here, and what could happen is that your golem will not actually tank for this wizard tower. So you really want to make sure that you kind of identify that when you guys are doing this. Again, rage, freeze, and then bats. Or you can do it a little bit more simpler if you live life on the edge. Rage, bats, and then freeze. Get a little bit better of your freeze, but you have to be very quick on your placement. And that is all that it takes really to use the bat bomb. But again, a very solid example of this, using the golem again to tank for the bats, especially on a wizard tower, and then using the rage bats freeze or rage freeze bats on a multi-inferno, just like in these two examples that we showcased here, really show you guys exactly how you guys can get it done with a DragBat. Now we've got one more example here for you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at that one. Alright, now let's give you guys a complete overview on exactly identification, and then also just recapping this entire attack as a whole. So the first thing that you're looking at is the air sweepers. Where are they pointing? You can see that one is going to be placed right here, and the other is going to be pushing units back here. So notice that on this base design, they are pointed to one side. However, you really wouldn't want to enter in from this way, especially since you're not guaranteed that town hall. So the easiest way to actually use this is to send one group into here and another over here. This then allows you to then push into the base and allow you to get a lot of those splash. Notice that the splash buildings are all on, or most of them are on one side of the base. If you take a look at it here, if we sort of cut a line like this, notice that a lot of them are on one side. Now, yeah, that's a little bit bad of a line. If we do something a little bit better, most of it is going to be on that top side. So you really want to make sure that you identify that exactly where it's placed, so that then you can take a look at that and see, all right, where am I going to be hitting from, and go from there. And you can see on this one is that it's relatively easy to set the funnel due to the army camps here being a little bit in bad spots where you can kind of set a funnel a little bit easier. So you got to make sure that you kind of identify that. So if you see where an army camp is placed where you can set a funnel very easy, in this case on a corner, then that's going to be really good. Just make sure that you try to take advantage of those when you guys are doing this attack. So you can see that now sending everything in as you go into the base is really important. On this base design, there was an Inferno Island that looks like this. You may have seen it before. However, if not, that's what it looks like. But you can see the Stone Slimer is able to easily get to it without, any interruption. Again, you can notice that the air sweepers are pushing back a lot of those dragons. But if we take a look at it and pause it right here, look at where all the splashes. There's literally no more splash other than the wizard tower that can be taken out thanks to the queen. Now, the queen isn't going to, because she's actually targeting onto the lava. Actually, she will target it right there, but the lava hound was there and I thought she was going to target it. But you can see, again, the bats did a very excellent job at getting through it. Just remember that the expos can also cause a lot of problems, especially because they shoot really quickly and they can mostly one-shot them. So it's really got to make sure that you take a look at them. Those are pretty critical to take out. So if you can take out a large group of them, mainly two, then that's even better. But usually this is the overview of the attack. So I try to give you guys the best way to sort of get through an attack like this, because we've already talked about base identification. We put that into this and then also kind of talk about exactly how an attacker is doing. So hopefully this entire series is helping you guys improve your attacks, and hopefully you guys are learning from this series, because that is the main focus of it. So if you guys do enjoy this video, leave a like, subscribe for more of my content, turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss an upload. Also, feel free to join my community Discord, or if you think you have what it takes to join the Exit Humanity family in MLCW and the Champions War League, then go ahead and join all the Discord servers I have linked in the description below. And then also feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'll leave a link down in the description below as well. Hopefully you guys do enjoy, or hopefully you guys did enjoy this video, and hopefully you guys are enjoying this series. I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.